we all have a challenge in our life, right? A painful memory. It could be a car accident, it could be whatever. Is there something that you can share with the audience that says, you know what, this was a real Y chart in the road for me. And looking back, it actually helped me in life.
We moved at one point. We were in a building downtown Paducah. It's just historic, old town and everything. We come to this new building, and it's not new; it's old building too. And this is nuts. Okay, so we smell there's a stink in here. Everybody moves in, got our computers all set up. We're 2 weeks in. It's like somebody's like, it stinks, man. And I'm like being all positive. I'm like, when buildings are closed up, it's what they do. We'll open the windows. Month in, it's worse. And they're like, it just smells like crap in here. Like it just stinks. And I was like, yeah, well, I don't, and it's just bad. And then I see there's with these flies. And I'm like, what is going on? So it gets worse and worse. And I'm literally pulling the walls off, like the paneling and drywall off the wall, thinking, is there an old pipe back there that's cracked? Or like, what is going
A
on?
mouse in the wall or
Yeah,
something.
what is this? I'm just, because we're kind of going crazy. And I've got all this property now because I've bought this. I still hadn't sold the other building. It's a little bit stressful, and moves are stressful. You lose money every time you move like that. It's expensive. So I hire a plumber, and he's like, I can't find it. I hire another one, and he goes, I think it's coming from the floor. I'm like, give me your circular saw. And I just wits in, I cut this big square in the floor of this building, lift out this 5 by 6 foot square sheet of floor out, and we look down, and I kid you not, there's a cesspool of human feces 20 feet by 15 feet. And
Oh,
that plumber looks at me and goes, I'm out, and just walks out of the building.
oh man.
So this building has apartments above it that I bought, and those old pipes were broken for years. And so it was literally raw sewage in the middle of our studio. And I remember standing there, and that guy walked out, and I'm like, I'm literally screwed here. Like, we're trying to run a business. I own too much property. We hadn't been selling because of all this. And I finally find a company, and they spend like three or 4 weeks around the clock dumping lime and like just scraping wheelbarrows, and like it was like a $55,000 cost.
Wow.
And
And the
we could
insurance
close
didn't
there.
cover that.
Well, the kicker is I'm one of those weirdos that checks every box. I call my insurance guy and I go like, hey, this is what happened. He's like, yeah, nobody's ever covered for that. I'm like, see what I did. He calls back and he goes, hey, you're a weirdo. We're sending a guy down. So they cut a check. Everything was better. But that didn't happen overnight. Like, this was a long drug out process. My dad, a Vietnam vet, right, comes in, and we're still working. I'm still selling. I got like plastic up. People are coming in. I'm selling them marketing stuff and websites. And they're like, what's going on? I'm like, upgrading. So my dad comes in during that point, tough guy, puts his arm around me and goes, I don't know how you're not medicated right now. You're tough. And I'm like, wow, that sounds tough. But I think we have points that we look back on. Like it's like you and I were saying, relative to what. So I tell you what, COVID happened, and oh, by the way, this year was like 20. This would be '09, so the economy was tanked when we did this too, right?
Oh
So
God.
COVID happened, and literally all of that was worse than COVID for us and our business. Like, I could reflect back and go, yeah, and
Yeah.
there are people still here that experience that, and they're like, 6 months into COVID, I'm like, yeah, this is tough. This is challenging. People are working from home, and somebody's like, yeah, but it's no crap hole in the middle of the lobby.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because you just keep going back to what's the worst thing I've been through. What's the worst stressful situation? You look back at that and you just go, I think we're going to be fine.
What does faith play a role in your life? Do you have a faith, or what role does it play for you?
Yeah, so I grew up in a Christian home, and I live in a Christian home now. Two things. It's a place I can go to recharge, slow down. try to enjoy the present moment and not think about the future. So like if you're living in the future, you're anxious. If you're living in the past, you're depressed. I've heard it put that way before. So it's like, can you just be right now, thankful for the things you've got right now? If life is really rough, it's my knee-jerk go-to to just let go of everything and go, hey, will you take this? And just, but it's a private thing too. We don't start the day with prayer at work or anything like that. Those are the two times, recovery and extreme fright.
Well, and I think when you can let go of the wheel and hand it off, that's when Robert White came back in my life, a guy named Rich, a guy named Nick, like people at the fire pit outside of my backyard. It started with one person. It
Yeah.
got to 12. And I
Yeah.
was like, and now we did Living a Better Story retreat. And that all was born out of the fire pit. And it's
Yeah.
like, wait, what's next, man? Like, I don't even know. Just show me where you need me to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's those, that's a great share. I really appreciate that. That's huge.